We in these streets.
All right, man, what's going on? What's going on, everybody, man? Welcome to Three Kings Boxing. And this is the prodigy of boxing talking. As always, go to threekingboxing.com for the latest great what's going on in the sport of boxing. And always here to help me get through this, my man Prodigy. What's going on, family?
What's good, man? You know what, dog? This Vegas trip that we just came back from.
I was just finna go there.
Yeah, good trip. It was a good trip. Fight was whack. You know what I'm saying? But, man, I was in the airport when we were leaving. And I had gotten into it with the TSA agent. A little short, fat, white lady, man. She dyed her hair red and shit. Just the ugly motherfucker, right?
Right.
And she just had an attitude and shit. So I got into it with her and traded some words with her, man. And it's funny how things happen. After I did that, I went over to, the part where you get your bag and get all your belongings and shit. I went over there. And a TSA agent, another TSA agent, he stopped and looked at my shirt. threekingsboxing.com, right? The newest shirts that we got that's possibly going to be for sale one day. We ain't figured that out yet, but dope as fuck. Dope logo, everything.
Yes,
he stopped and looked at it. And he came over. He said, "Hey, man, where you get that shirt from?" I said, "Man, what you think where I got the shirt from? It's my business, bro. You know what I'm saying? It's Three Kings Boxing. It's my business." He's like, "Oh, man, you probably went online and bought that shirt somewhere, man. You know what I'm saying? Because I know you can't box." I started laughing. I said, "Man, if I wasn't having to take a flight in the next hour, I'd take your ass outside." And he said, "Oh, you don't want to take me outside because I fought Provodnikov, and I was the first person to take him to the cards." I said, "What?" I said, "What's your name?" He said, "Brian Gordon Boxing. Look me up." So I looked him up. And sure enough, TSA agent is the first fighter to take Robson Provodnikov to the cards. He fought Provodnikov when he was 6-0 or 7-0.
Mm-hmm.
And Provodnikov was 7-0 with 7 knockouts. And this dude took him to the cards. He also fought Mauricio Herrera. And he got stopped by him, but he went 5 rounds on him. And it's crazy. The moral of the story is it's crazy, dog. You never know, you know what I'm saying, who you could be talking to, who you run into. You know what I'm saying? Even though his record was like 4 wins, 4 losses, and a draw. At the end of the day, to know that just, you walk around and it's a regular dude that you talking to, this motherfucker done fought world champions and shit. Mm-hmm. That's a big thing, man. That shit's dope to me, man.
Yeah, well, I think what's even more dope as part of the story is that the fact that he saw that shirt and was like, "Yo, man," as he showed interest in that shirt, like he wanted to know where you bought that shirt at, like where you buy that shirt at, right? Right. But I'm gonna tell y'all something, man. Maybe I'm old, but that 2-hour change in time to have me fucked up for 2 days. I'm just not getting right from that 2-hour change. But all I'm gonna say is this, man. My favorite part of the trip was at the end. We taking the car back, we getting our stuff out. Prodigy see the shuttle bus. He runs over, flags. The shuttle bus got down. The shuttle bus was fuck you, J.L. Davis. The shuttle bus dude was trying to talk to 2K. Couldn't speak English. 2K. That's the man right there. Nigga,
hey, man, I ain't about to translate that shit, nigga.
He didn't make the attempt. That nigga pointed at me and started putting this shit inside the shuttle bus. That is, man. But shout out though, man. Hey, like we tell y'all, man, we out there. Y'all, hey, all y'all gotta do, hey, man, pick your fights, man. We'll be there, man. Just come up to us and talk to us. All right, man, let's get this show on the road, man. I'm gonna kick everything off with a prospect in the junior welterweight division. Now, a lot of you guys might know my man. A lot of you guys may not know my man, right? Cat by the name of Shohjahon Ergashev, right? Now, he's from Uzbekistan, fighting out of Detroit, so he's from Crunk, which means that he has ties to not Emmanuel. I'm about to say Emmanuel. Fuck.
Emmanuel Stewart passed down his knowledge to Sugar Hill. So
he sure did. Right. All right. So yep. So he's trained by Sugar Hill. Now I'm gonna tell y'all a little bit about my man right here. Now, he's a prospect. Now he is ranked in all 4 major sanctioning bodies, but the one I want everybody to look at that is the most important. I believe he's ranked number 4 by the IBF. That's the one that I want you guys to look at right there, right? Because as of right now, that belt is held by somebody right now, right? I don't think it's Josh Taylor because he gave up. He dropped that belt. and I forget the dude name that fought for that vacant title. Was it anyway, I forget the guy's name that fought for the vacant title. But here's the thing about this cat right here. Good prospect, good guy, good boxing skills, right? Southpaw fighter, right? His advantage that he have in his fight is that he can he's a good counter puncher, goes to the body, good athleticism, recovers real fast, fights very good at mid-range, right? He has very quick feet. So he can move and shift and give you them angles and move back and forth. He doesn't move back. That's right. That's right. He's going to fight the winner of Matias and Ponce. Thank you very much.
I was going to wait for you to finish your story. Before, I didn't want to interrupt you, but yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, Matias and Ponce haven't fought for it yet.
Right. So he's going to fight the winner of that. All right, bet. And so, good movement on the inside range fighter. Now, here's some of his weaknesses, right? What I don't like about the kid, he keeps his chin up too high and his hands low. When he hits you, it's like he hits you and he poses. He's waiting to see the results of it. He telegraphs his left hand, his straight left hand. He telegraphs. You can always tell when he's going to shoot it back because he cocks his shoulder. He does his shoulder like that. Anytime you see a southpaw do like that, that means that they're going to throw that left hand. And he has a very bad habit of when he's punching, he'll cock that shoulder. So you know the left hand is coming. He can get overzealous, which means that he'll stand in front of you flat-footed without moving his head, being ready on defense. So he can get caught with a left or right hook counter. Another problem that he has is he likes to bounce a lot. So he's not stationary. And I know what he's trying to do. He's trying to bounce so you don't know where he's coming. But the problem with that is if you're under somebody with a good jab, you'll get hit with that jab every time you're bouncing. Why? Because you're not ready to defend while you're bouncing up and down, right? So good prospect, good dude. I think he needs a little bit more fights. He's 23-0. The problem with him is he fights on the Salido promotions, and you don't really get to see him because he doesn't land on a big card. And what I mean by big card, like for example, Brandon Lee that's on Earl Spencer's undercards. He needs to land on the undercard of a big card. He's been on Showbox and Showtime, but he needs more exposure. So he's 23-0. They need to step up the level of competition. Need to start putting him in there with some big time journeymen or maybe some former world champions and see how good this guy does. He's got potential, but when it comes to him fighting for a world title, I just don't think he's ready right now. I think he needs a little bit more seasoning, man. All right, everybody, man. All right, let's move on to the topic. Fantasy matchup. This one right here is going to be a doozy. Prime Shane Mosley versus Devin Haney. Of course, when I say prime Shane Mosley, as my man Prodigy told me off the air, I'm talking lightweight. I'm talking that Shane Mosley that was running through motherfuckers like X-Lax through an old person, goddammit. I'm talking about that Shane Mosley right there. With the hand speed and the quick feet and the movement, his reflexes proper, man. Prime Shane Mosley against Devin Haney. Here's where Shane Mosley has the advantage. Shane Mosley does have the faster hands. Shane Mosley, I believe, has better footwork at mid-range. At mid-range, I believe he has much better footwork than Devin Haney, right? Shane Mosley has power, right? Oh, this nigga right here.
All right. Go ahead.
Look, the Shane Mosley that I used to see, yeah, I felt he had that good footwork right there. But that's good, nigga. That's good.
I'm listening, bro. I don't know what you're hearing, man. Make you laugh. I'm just listening.
All right. He also had power. Shane Mosley had power. Shane Mosley at that time had a motor. Devin Haney has the advantage. Devin Haney had jab. Devin Haney jab is the same type of jab that Forrest used to beat Shane Mosley with. That's the same type of jab, and Devin Haney can throw that jab from different variations. Right now, I believe in my heart of hearts, this is a tough one for me. Really, I'm gonna be honest with y'all because I'm still sitting here. I'm talking, y'all trying to figure out who I'm gonna pick. This is a tough one for me. I believe in a fight like this right here, I got to go with the guy that shows me better boxing ability, which is Devin Haney. Devin Haney shows better boxing. This nigga here.
Oh, shit. I'm listening, bro. My bad, dog.
Devin Haney shows better boxing ability. Devin Haney would fight him similar to the same way that Vernon Forrest fought him. So I believe Devin Haney can squeak out as long as he stick to boxing. Let me say this. He's got to stick to the game plan of boxing. If Devin Haney loses focus one time, Shane Mosley at 135 would knock him the fuck out. So if Devin Haney can stick to the game plan of boxing, using his jab, moving around, don't lose focus, don't lose those laps, I believe Devin Haney can eke out a 75 victory, man.
Well, I like how you made the comparison to Vernon Forrest. Here's the difference between that, man. Vernon Forrest was much longer and utilize his height and reach over Shane Mosley. And Devin Haney, I think, his reach is around the same, and they're probably the same height. He might even be shorter. Who knows, right? But the thing is, Vernon Forrest was a tall, long, rangy fighter with an excellent jab and could set up that straight right hand from mid-range to outside distance. And that's what was killing Shane Mosley. Second reason, another thing about that fight that you know, I don't think Devin Haney would be able to pull off is the fact that the Vernon Forrest's ability to judge distance. I think in that fight against Shane Mosley, who Shane Mosley at that time was not the Shane Mosley that was fighting at 135, right? This is the one that was coming more on the inside. You know what I'm saying? This is the one that didn't have really good head movement. He was bouncing, but he wasn't bouncing around to evade. He was just bouncing around to get his motor started so he can move on the inside. Vernon Forrest turned him into a one-dimensional fighter. I don't think Devin Haney would be able to do that. You know what I'm saying? One thing I disagree with you on, which was made clear by my noises, was that Shane Mosley had great footwork or good footwork. I disagree with that. I don't think Shane Mosley ever had good footwork, and that was actually one of his biggest downfalls. If Shane Mosley had great footwork, this nigga would probably be unfucking beatable. You know what I'm saying? If he had head movement, didn't keep his head on the center line, he would probably be unfucking beatable, right? Another thing about Vernon Forrest is Forrest had power. Devin Haney doesn't have good power in terms of keeping a guy like Shane Mosley off of him.
Honestly,
right?
yeah.
I think Shane Mosley would make Devin Haney retreat, put his back up against the ropes, and that's where he'd have the most success, right? Those fast hands. Now, I give George Kambosos one thing. I can hear myself, Bo, on your end. I give George Kambosos one thing, right? The fast hands that George Kambosos had, the little success that he had came from that, right? George Kambosos' hands were not faster than Shane Mosley at 135. I don't even think it's close. You know what I'm saying? If George Kambosos can have little success with his hand speed against Devin Haney, then I believe Shane Mosley, who was smarter than George Kambosos, could have success with his hand speed at 135 in his prime. On top of that, he has power. We've already seen Devin Haney's chin get touched several times. Jorge Linares being the one that everyone remembers the most. I believe Shane Mosley lands that same overhand right on him, but that's going to be a knockdown or possibly a knockout. I got Shane Mosley, dog. I don't know if he stops Devin Haney, but I think he hurts Devin Haney. And remember this. Understand this, too. Floyd Mayweather, one of the most elusive motherfuckers in the game, bro. Ever. Shane Mosley was able to get inside him, land that overhand right. Not once, but twice. In the same round. Made him buckle.
Sure did. He sure did.
He's going to land that on Devin Haney. And Devin Haney might not get up. I don't know if it's a knockout, but I would take Shane Mosley. Probably it would be like an 8 rounds to 4, but minus a couple of points because of knockdowns. Shane Mosley on that one, dog. Easy.
Here's the thing about what I want you guys to understand about these breakdowns, right? This is knowledge at the highest level, right? It truly, really is. What I do want to say is this right here, and I actually hear everything that you're saying. The problem that I would have that I actually had with Shane Mosley. Shane Mosley at times, at that time, 135, he can get caught admiring his work. That was one of the problems I used to always have. I said, he would always hit and then stop to admire his work. If he stops to admire his work like that, that's when Devin Haney can take advantage of it. Devin Haney's a decent counterpuncher, but I think his biggest key for victory would be that jab. Because he would have to consistently throw that jab, because Shane Mosley was always susceptible to that jab. He didn't really like Shane Mosley's jab wasn't like a power jab. It was just a range finding jab.
Nah, he used to flick it out there.
Yeah, yep.
He never used his jab. But one thing about, I want to say this real quick. Lodzo said you're not going to beat Haney if you don't have a jab. Yeah, on points, Lodzo. Mm-hmm. You'd have trouble beating Haney on points, but the problem is Shane Mosley, his ability, right, to feint, his hand speed, that's going to get Devin Haney the same way that it got Floyd Mayweather early.
I agree.
Devin Haney's doesn't have better reflexes than Floyd Mayweather. He doesn't. He doesn't even have better reflexes than Floyd Mayweather right now. You know what I'm saying? And it still confused Floyd Mayweather. It's most definitely going to confuse Devin Haney. Now, if we would have said Shane Mosley versus Shakur Stevenson, right, then this would be it'd be a different situation. But Devin Haney shows a lot of flaws, bro, in terms of his reflexes, right? In terms of fighting on his back foot, right? In terms of opponents coming forward, getting inside of his jab, bro. He shows weaknesses in those categories. Jojo Diaz, Jorge Linares. Shane Mosley was a master at doing that to boxers. He just couldn't do it to Vernon Forrest.
Yeah. No, I mean that's a very good point. And then to your point about Floyd, remind you that Floyd that fought Shane Mosley wasn't a prime Shane Mosley that we saw at 135.
Yeah.
And he still was able to land that. So yeah, I agree with you. That's why I said if Devin Haney can stay focused and keep that jab pumping and don't have no lower moments and don't get caught, then yes, he can possibly win on points. But you do have to keep in mind Shane Mosley 135 power was through the fucking roof. Like it was really through the roof, man. He was sleeping motherfuckers like crazy, dog. Yeah. So good fight, man. Good matchup, man. Oh man, sometimes I wish we can go back in time and see some of these fights, but we're gonna have another good one for y'all tomorrow, man. Appreciate my man right here for that excellent breakdown, and I appreciate everybody for participating. All right, let's move on into these topics. Let's get this shit rolling. So Amanda Serrano is extremely confident that she can become undisputed with ease at featherweight, right?
Not fucking fighting anybody. I'm sorry, man. Go ahead. Man.
As you all know, she didn't take the rematch with Katie Taylor. She's now fighting Sarah Mahfoud. Now, I'm going to be honest with y'all. She's going to whoop the dog shit out of Sarah Mahfoud. I've seen Sarah Mahfoud. There's nothing special about her. As a matter of fact, she was probably lucky to even win that title that she won. Right? That's number one. The only other person that holds the belt in that Ulster division is Erica Cruz. Erica Cruz is good. I can't shit on her. She's actually good and decent. I still think Amanda Serrano beats her too. Right? Amanda Serrano probably beat her fucking 8-4, 9-3. Right? Cruz is good, but Amanda Serrano still beats her. So, yes, of course she should be confident that she's going to go for undisputed. And if you really want to, listen, man, if y'all really want to keep it a bean, I'm not surprised this is the route Amanda Serrano is taking, because after she lost to Katie Taylor, I wasn't surprised she didn't take the rematch. Why would she? We've seen this out of Amanda Serrano before, right? She went in there, she got paid, and she lost. Well, she's not going to go right back into the rematch and take another L. No, she's going to be like, hey, I'm going to go and I'm going to fight and become undisputed. Then she's going to try to run that line. Oh, I built up my profile. Against who? Sarah Mahfoud? Erica Cruz?
Well, it's not even about that. I built up my profile and became undisputed. So 7-division champion and undisputed champion. That's what it's about with her. That's the problem, man. Listen, Amanda Serrano, her whole career, moving up and down in weight, avoiding challenges and shit, fighting motherfuckers nobody knows, and collecting belts. The accolade is good, right? It's actually pretty good, because I remember at one point she was 140, won a belt there, then dropped all the way down to 115 and won a belt there. Now, whether or not you think, she ducked Cecilia Brækhus when she won that title at 140, she could have easily moved to 147 and fought Brækhus for undisputed there, but instead she moved all the way down to 115. Whether you believe that or not, at the end of the day, moving down from 140 to 115, and she's already small, that's a challenging ass feat in itself, despite who she fought at 115. Fuck all that. But at the end of the day, that's a challenge in itself. So I do give her somewhat credit of being a 7-division champion because of all the weight jumping that she's done. But at the end of the day, if you look at Amanda Serrano's career in detail, she was a weight bully and still is a weight bully. Amanda Serrano realistically needs to be fighting at 140, 147. Amanda Serrano realistically needs to be at 140, honestly, probably trying to fight Chantel Cameron instead of Chantel Cameron going up to 147 trying to fight Jessica McCaskill. Now, I love that fight. That's an excellent fight for undisputed. But my point is, Amanda Serrano should be lying in wait for the winner of that fight. You see what I'm saying?
Agreed.
Instead of fucking weight bullying Sarah Mahfoud and Erica Cruz at 126. right? Erica Cruz has zero power. How's she going to beat Amanda Serrano? Like, the way you beat Amanda Serrano is you got to keep her fucking honest, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, people are going to say Katie Taylor has no power. I disagree. Katie Taylor has the kind of power that can keep a motherfucker honest. You see what I'm saying? And that's what she did. Hell, that's what she did against Delphine Persoon in the rematch. That's what she did against Amanda Serrano and every other fighter that she's fought. Hell, that's how she kept the motherfucker that beat Alicia Baumgartner, Medusa.
Christine Leonard-Dartel.
Christine Leonard-Dartel. That's the Ruslan Provodnikov of 140 when she's active, right? That's the only loss Alicia Baumgartner has is to Christine Leonard-Dartel. How did Katie Taylor beat her? She was using the ring, boxing her, and whenever that motherfucker would try to bruise herself in, she hit her with a counter. Keep her honest. You see what I'm saying?
Agreed.
So at the end of the day, bro, at the end of the day, Amanda Serrano should be fighting for the winner of Cameron McCaskill and not even fucking looking at anybody at 126 because those girls aren't good enough for her. See, Clarissa Shields is one thing. We talk about her, you know, and she's fighting these girls and shit outside of Savannah Marshall and Hannah Gabriels and Christina Hammer. And we're like, yeah, she's fighting girls that they can't compete with her. They're not good enough. Well, in her situation, she's a big girl, right? She has no choice but to fight these chicks, 154, 160, 168, that probably shouldn't be in the ring with her, right? Mm-hmm. But Amanda Serrano has a choice. She's within that pool of fighters where girls can give her a fucking challenge. And she chooses not to fight those or take those challenges, but instead fight girls that nobody really fucking knows. And when you watch them fight, you can immediately, after watching them for 2 rounds, understand that they shouldn't be in the ring with Amanda Serrano. That's the type of challenges she takes. You see what I'm saying? Right. So realistically, she should either be looking for a rematch with Katie Taylor or she should be trying to fight the winner of McCaskill and fucking Cameron. You know what I'm saying? But instead of her doing that, she wants the easy route at 126. 2 girls that have no business being in the ring with her, bullying them, then taking their belts. Get the fuck out of here, man.
Now, here's something I want to add to it too, right? Because like you mentioned, Clarissa Shields did fight Hannah Gabriels. Clarissa Shields did fight Christina Hammer, right? And she is fighting Savannah Marshall. Hell, she was trying to get what's her name, Cecilia Brækhus to come to 154 because she couldn't go to 147. But when you look at, like you said, when you look at Amanda Serrano, because I'll remind you guys of one thing. Michaela Meyer, who's going to be fighting Alicia Baumgartner, she had said, hey, I want the winner of that Amanda Serrano Katie Taylor fight. And even though that you know Amanda Serrano lost, she still was interested in fighting Amanda Serrano. There's a big name right there of a top fighter with the name, with an accolade that everybody knows and talks about, that she could fight right there. And that's at what was it, 130? 130? Yeah, 130. That's at 130. She could do that, right? That's 130. You just fought at 135 and you went down to 126. So I totally agree with you, man. She's fighting 2 girls. She's weight bullying 2 chicks that she could easily fight, to easily beat. And she's going for the accolade to add toward the legacy, which is 7 division world champion and undisputed. And that's really what she's doing, man. So I agree with you 100%, man. Amanda Serrano, I want to, after she becomes undisputed, what you gonna do? She needs to rematch Katie Taylor, but we'll wait and see what happens. Either she needs to rematch Katie Taylor or she needs to look to fight the winner of that Jessica McCaskill and Chantel Cameron. That's what she needs to do. Now I know.
You know it was funny. She could also be, even if she didn't want to do that, right? Because you mentioned 130. You got Michaela Meyer there, right? Mm-hmm. You got my girl, Some Dumb Goy.
That's fucked up.
You know what I'm saying? The WBA champ, right? Right. And then you got Alicia Baumgartner, of course. Baumgartner and Michaela Meyer. The winner of that is going to be a 3-belt unified champion, right?
Right.
She could move into 130 and fight Michaela Meyer or Alicia Baumgartner, whoever wins that fight.
Yep.
She could fight one of them. You're absolutely correct. But instead, she's sticking at 126, right? Mm-hmm. And says, fuck it. I stay.
I surrender.
Bullshit, man. Listen, man. I like Amanda Serrano. She's a great fighter, man. She really is. I'm not shitting on her ability in the ring. But the more and more she continues, and if you know about her career, prior to her continuing, the more and more her shit starts to look like a farce. Real talk.
Yep, that's very true. But you know what's not a farce? Shakur Stevenson's confidence. This motherfucker is, I got to give it to him. Shakur Stevenson is like, look here, man. You know, Robert Conceicao, he's good, you know, amateur style, but I'm on a whole nother level. I'm on another level. And my question is, I think this Robson Conceicao fight is a good fight. This is a fight we had talked about. Actually, we actually thought that he had beat Oscar Valdez. Is Shakur Stevenson being overconfident when going into the Robson Conceicao fight? Now, let me just say this right here. I have no problem with him feeling like he's gonna whoop this dude. I got no problem when the fighter says, I'm gonna whoop a dude easily, right? Because, you know, honestly speaking, you're supposed to fucking feel like that. If you're telling me you are that dude, you elite, you are supposed to feel like, oh man, this is easy, right? I remember when Winky Wright was telling everybody, man, it's gonna be the easy fight I ever had when he fought Felix Trinidad. Everybody said, what? Are you crazy? It's Felix Trinidad. He was like, oh man, it's easy work, man.
He sure did do that, man. Man, what y'all motherfuckers watching, man? I'm about to whoop this nigga ass easy, man. Man, hand me my donuts, man.
Exactly. And he went out and he fucking did it. And when he did it, everybody like, oh shit, Ricky Wright is good. Duh. We've been through that. We've been through that, right? So I don't mind the overconfident. If he's saying it to us, I don't mind it. But also to a certain degree, you still got to keep in mind as a fighter, hey, this dude is good and he is dangerous. But I have to say this. I don't think he's being overconfident. That's just Shakur Stevenson doing what I believe you should be as a fighter, man. What's your take on this?
Yeah, he's right, man. He's got the correct mentality. Shakur Stevenson's had the right mentality ever since he joined the professional ranks. I mean, I don't think anything less of him, and he should. I mean, he's. I mean, I don't really do this, but if you want to say that there is a Floyd Mayweather successor, he's the closest. It's not Devin Haney. It's Shakur Stevenson. You know what I'm saying? But I think he'll come into himself. We don't need to make those type of comparisons. Robson Conceicao is an excellent fighter, man. I thought he beat Oscar Valdez. You know what I'm saying? Actually, I was calling for this fight after the Valdez fight. I said, man, I thought Robson Conceicao beat this dude. I'd like to see him fight Shakur Stevenson. And fucking many months later, we end up getting it. So I think this is an excellent matchup. I can't wait to see it. It's going to be a chess match. If Shakur Stevenson dominates Robson Conceicao, watch out, man. Real talk. I don't know if you guys know how good of a fighter Conceicao is. I suggest you go watch his tapes. Hell, go watch him in the Olympics. He's still the same kind of fighter. He hasn't gotten worse. He's only gotten a little bit better. Watch this motherfucker. He's a good fighter. If he dominates Conceicao, this motherfucker is not losing to anybody anytime soon, bro. Anytime soon, man.
Hey, I gotta agree with you on this one right here. And here's the reason why, man. Understand something, right? The reason why Shakur Stevens has that mentality because Shakur Stevens already know what his skill set level is, right? Shakur Stevenson, and a lot of times your association of who you are connected to as part of your team and guys you associate yourself with is very important. Shakur Stevenson is sparring guys like Terrence Crawford. Shakur Stevenson was taught this game by guys like Andre Ward. Okay, so Shakur Stevenson is a cat that, like you said, coming into this sport already had that mindset. I want to take over. Think about this for 1 second. This motherfucker, Shakur Stevenson's the only dude that went against Bob Arum was like, listen, I'm either fighting Jamel Herring or I'm fighting Oscar Valdez. But I'm fighting one of them. I'm not stepping aside and let them fight each other. No, I ain't doing that. I'm fighting one of them. You know the kind of confidence you got to have as a little nigga to say that to Bob Arum?
I mean, it's not even just confidence, but he understands his value.
Exactly.
Bob Arum understands his value. He understands his value. So honestly, it wasn't even that difficult for him to do that. Mm-hmm. So I mean, if he was Devin Haney right now saying something like that, that's different. But you know, Shakur Stevenson understands his value, right?
Yep, exactly.
And at the end of the day, Bob Arum had to comply or lose one of the best fighters in the sport.
Yep, exactly. So I'm interested in this fight. I can't wait till we do the breakdown of his fight. And like I tell y'all, man, hey man, I hope y'all watching film and tapes. Yeah. I hope y'all watching film and tapes, and I agree with you in this aspect. If he does dominate Conceicao, and I mean when I say I'm talking 9-3, and that's me pushing it like, okay, that's a push 9-3. Nah, I'm with you, man. Nobody beats this dude till he probably goes to 140.
The fight I want to see, and I want to see it before he gets old, is Shakur and Lomachenko. Now, of course, I do want to see Devin Haney and Lomachenko, right? That's more of a the fight that's probably going to get made first. But I do want to see Loma and Shakur because I want to see Shakur against that kind of footwork, right? If you remember the Olympics, Robson Ramirez, I don't know where that shit went, but he was outclassing Shakur Stevenson with his footwork. Yeah, you don't really have it the way that he had in the Olympics and the pros, and he's actually pretty good in the pros now. But that footwork is one thing that I see that's missing with Robson Ramirez. But that's one of the things that Shakur Stevenson had trouble with in that Olympic final, right? So I'm curious to see how he reacts to a Vasyl Lomachenko type of footwork. A lot of people, oh man, Shakur fucks that nigga up. I'm not so sure. I want to see that, bro. Yeah. Lomachenko's not a dude that anybody just fucks up. I tell y'all before, I tell you again, Teofimo Lopez did not fuck Shakur Lomachenko up. Vasyl Lomachenko up. He did not fuck him up. No. You know what I'm saying? No. Nobody is fucking Lomachenko up. Agreed. All right. He's a problem for anybody. I want to see that shit, bro.
Agreed. And as far as Rumbisi's footwork, you know where it went? The motherfucker became a pro and decided to sit down on his freaking punches.
Well, I mean, it worked for him against what's my boy's name with the fucking blonde hair and shit.
I know what you're talking about. I can't think of his name right now. I know what you're talking about. Abraham, that's it. Yeah. That's it. Some Abraham. I just can't remember. Yeah. Abraham Nova.
Abraham Nova.
Yeah. Abraham Nova.
Worked against him. I thought that fight was going to be close. Shit. He fucked that boy up, man. Made shit intriguing. People were talking about Shakur Stevenson after they was like, nah, Robson himself, which is what I didn't like. You need to go talk to your Cuban brethren, bro. I didn't like that shit. You know that fight. I'm not worried about Shakur Stevenson. That's not somebody I think I'm gonna be fighting anytime. Man, shut the fuck up, nigga. You're supposed to call out everybody.
I agree with that. I can't argue with that. I can't argue with that right there. And you know what else you can't argue with? Do y'all want to see Oleksandr Usyk versus Deontay Wilder? Do y'all want to see it? So Oleksandr Usyk has mentioned fighting Deontay Wilder. As a matter of fact, word has it that he's going to be at Wilder's fight when Deontay Wilder fight Robert Helenius. Now, here's something I want you guys to understand, because here at Three Kings Box, what do we tell y'all? You got to be a 3D thinker. You got to be a three-dimensional. You got to be a three-dimensional thinker. Usyk is looking at Deontay Wilder. He knows and understands, okay, Tyson is about to fight Anthony Joshua. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take a fight with Deontay Wilder. It's a big payday fight. I can move with this fight. I can get what I want. And on top of that, I can show everybody, since everybody's talking about, hey, how would he deal with when he finally gets his chin tested with a big puncher? Well, I'm going to show you guys that I'll fight someone tall as Tyson Fury. I'll fight someone lanky as Tyson Fury. And I'll fight a guy with power, and I'll show you what I can do. And it's a game of one-upsmanship. Tyson Fury is going to fight Anthony Joshua. All right, bet. I'm putting word out there that I'm going to fight Deontay Wilder. Right? If Deontay Wilder, now we'll see what happens, of course, when Deontay Wilder wins. But I have to say, I'm gonna say this. I like this mentality about Usyk. Usyk is not just gonna be like, all right, I beat Anthony Joshua, I'm gonna sit back on my loins. No, understand, if Usyk goes in there and he outboxes Deontay Wilder, I mean outboxes him, clean outboxes him. When they sit down and talk about making this fight, I feel like he already has the advantage. He already has the advantage over Tyson Fury. He's like, man, I got 3 belts. This is my division, right? And even though Tyson Fury did beat Deontay Wilder, right? I get all that. Tyson Fury did beat Deontay Wilder. I get that. But if Usyk goes in there, who Tyson Fury calls a middleweight, and he goes in there and he completely outclasses Deontay Wilder, you can't tell me shit. If I'm Usyk, I'm like, hold on, Tyson, be quiet for a second. Let me write down on a piece of paper my numbers, and y'all tell me if y'all agree. Let me write this down, and y'all tell me if y'all agree. Right? I like the idea. I like the mindset. I like this game of one-upsmanship, because this is actually what boxing needs. Me and Prodigy tell y'all, man, these guys need to fight each other. Well, I don't care about Deontay Wilder, whether he, win or lose. Even if he wasn't fighting Robert Helenius, I wouldn't care about whether he won or lost against Tyson Fury. I still want to see this fight, like AJ and Tyson Fury. I still want to see that fight. I don't care about the wins or losses. It's about, these are top guys at their time and where they're fighting in their era that need to fight each other, man. What do you think about this, man?
Man, tough crowd, dog. Man, mad motherfuckers in the chat. Nah, fuck this fight. Nah, that shit sucks. Nigga, I'm boo-booing on the fight. Nigga, I'll never watch it. Bro, y'all gotta understand, man. Tyson Fury is stuck in the UK. That's what y'all got. Until that shit gets fixed, we can't have a Usyk Fury undisputed bout unless Usyk goes over to the UK, which he probably doesn't want to fucking do. Because realistically, Usyk holds the cards.
Yep.
He has the most belts. He beat Anthony Joshua. He beat the top dog in the division. Top dog wasn't Deontay Wilder. It was Anthony Joshua.
Yes, it was.
You know what I'm saying? Usyk's the one that beat the top dog in the division. So if Tyson Fury would have went the AJ route instead of the Wilder route, he'd be the top dog in the division.
Agreed.
All right. So at the end of the day, bro, the whole situation with Tyson Fury and Daniel Kinahan needs to be cleared the fuck up. That's what I believe. If Usyk decides he wants to go to the UK, then fine. You know, it is what it is. But I don't think he wants to do that.
Yeah,
right?
I agree with that.
Especially he's talking about this Wilder fight, a possible Wilder fight. He's like, yeah, that fight's going to be in the USA. That tells me where he wants the Fury fight then. He probably wants the Fury fight here in the States, right? So at the end of the day, until that shit gets cleared up, Fury's going to fight somebody else. Usyk's going to fight somebody else. So with that being said, who's better than Wilder that Usyk should fight? I mean, I like Frank Sanchez, to be honest with you. But that fight's not gonna happen.
Yeah, that fight's not going to happen. You're not going to get no money for that fight. You're not going to get no money for that. I like that fight. I'm with you on that fight. I love that fight.
I like fucking Joe Joyce. Honestly, that's a rematch of fucking Olympics. I like that shit too. Right?
I definitely like that shit.
But again, Bo, not much money going to be out of that fight. You know what I'm saying? Maybe in the UK, but the US, we're not going to stand behind that bullshit. But Deontay Wilder is a global name, bro. Everyone knows him from the UK, that people that can't fucking stand him, and people that like him, and then the US people that don't like him, and people that do like him, right?
Yep.
He's a bigger name than Joe Joyce. He's a bigger name than Frank Sanchez. So while Fury needs to get his shit cleaned up, and while Usyk and Fury will fight other people, Wilder's probably the best next name to fight. I have no problem with this shit. I don't mind seeing Wilder get beat up again. What the fuck? I'm just saying, bro. Like, I'm not talking. I didn't mean it like that, but I'm saying Usyk gonna beat Wilder. I've been said this shit several times, man.
Yeah, you did.
He's gonna beat Wilder. I don't mind seeing that fight, and I'm picking Usyk. That's all I'm saying. So essentially, put two and two together. I'm saying I don't mind watching Wilder get beat up again. That's what's gonna happen. But it's an intriguing matchup. Because Usyk can get caught just like Tyson Fury got caught 3 times.
Yeah.
Usyk can get caught just like that. And what happens when Usyk gets dropped? He was dropped before in his career. He got right back up, right?
Yep.
But what happens if he gets dropped at heavyweight by one of the hardest punchers in the game? I mean, Anthony Joshua's got probably the power right behind Deontay Wilder, to be quite honest with you. But a lot of people, for some reason, don't give Joshua credit for his power. I don't know why. But
24 wins, 22 knockouts. I'm just saying.
Yeah, Joshua arguably the second hardest hitter in heavyweight. It depends on where you put F.A. Jagba, right?
Right, exactly.
Probably the second hardest hitter at heavyweight, right? So at the end of the day, he's already fought that guy who's got a lot of power. I think he would do well with a guy like Wilder who really only has one hand. He has power in his left, but it's not concussive power, the same concussive power he has in his right. It's not.
That's the point.
Right? So I think, honestly, this is a good fight with Usyk winning, but it's a good fight because it's intriguing to see if Usyk gets caught and he drops, does he get back up? Who doesn't want to see that?
See, this is what I'm talking about the minds of Three Kings. Earlier today on the Twitter space, Three Kings Boxing Recap Weekend, I said that. I said the intrigue that sells this fight is Deontay Wilder's power. How will Usyk take Deontay Wilder's power? You're not going to sit here and tell me if that's going to be the main talking point of this fight. And I'm telling y'all right now, how do I know? This always happens. When you get a pro boxer and a power puncher, it sells because the main talking point is the power. How do I know that? Ernie Schaefer and Larry Holmes. I remember the build-up for that fucking fight. Both fights. Again, Andre Ward and Kovalev. I remember the build-up for that fight. Both fights. Diego Corrales and Floyd Mayweather. I remember the build-up for that fight. That's what these motherfuckers talk about when you talking about dudes with power. You guys are not gonna understand one thing. Just like we talked about, Shane Mosley and Devin Haney. Understand one thing. Deontay Wilder he's gonna eventually at some point land that right hand, and that's what's gonna make it interesting. Right? He's not gonna not land that right hand. No, yeah, he's gonna land that right hand.
And based on what you're saying right now is why I disagree with my man Gerald Davis. He said that shit's gonna look like Loma versus Comey. Comey ain't got no devastating. He did early in his career, right? He had a nice hook, but against Lomachenko, hell, against Teofimo Lopez, you didn't see it, right?
No,
against top-notch fighters after probably fucking Robert Easter Jr., you never saw his signature hook against top-notch fighters, right? Instead, he went on to lose against I forgot his name. The Russian dude fights like Ruslan Provodnikov. Forgot his fucking name. But went on to lose to him after fucking Robert Easter Jr. So at the end of the day, bro, he didn't have anything intriguing to bring into a Loma fight. Deontay Wilder does. He does have something intriguing to bring into a Usyk fight.
Shohjahon.
What?
Shohjahon.
Nah, nigga, shut up.
Oh.
Shakur, bro.
Shakur, yeah, that's what I was
like. Shohjahon, who the fuck is that? Nigga, nigga gonna fight Ruslan Shohjahon, the heavyweight. I was gonna tell you, don't try to think about it, Bo, because you're gonna fuck it up. Yeah, Dennis Shakur, man, he went on to lose to him. But at the end of the day, bro, Comey has not brought anything intriguing since Robert Easter Jr. Wilder has been bringing an intriguing factor in every single fight for a very long time, and almost every fight that he fights in, regardless of the fact that he can't box, regardless of the fact that he doesn't run, right? Yeah. Regardless of the fact that he's got toothpicks under his torso, regardless of the fact that this motherfucker has no basic fundamentals. At the end of the day, that right hand will forever always be intriguing in every single fight.
Yes. And that's what I want you all to understand. Even Andre Ward had to snap Eddie Hearn saying Wilder would not win one round. And Andre Ward was like, oh, really? Yeah, okay, right hand, Usyk goes down. That round goes to Wilder. Right.
Like,
what the fuck is Eddie?
Yeah, just like how they did Shane Mosley and Floyd Mayweather and shit. He landed 2 punches in that round. They gave the round to Shane Mosley.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Watch. Same shit probably gonna happen there, bro.
Yep, I agree 100%. So I don't know why everybody's saying this fight. I like this fight, but I tell y'all all the time, right? This is how boxing used to be. It didn't matter. Like, I think fans care too much about wins and loss. No, man, these are good fights that we need. These are top guys of their era. They need to fight each other, man. Like, real talk. We need to fight each other. That way, like when we have the conversation, when you talk about, and me and my man Project did this one day. We looked at Muhammad Ali's resume and was like, God damn. All these motherfuckers on this nigga's resume. You know? So when you say the greatest of all, that's why, look at this. He fought all these guys. Just like we said and told you guys. Larry Holmes, he said he fought all these guys, them dogs of his era. Now, of course, you'll always find 1 or 2 dudes. I mean, you can't fight everybody. But if you fight 80% of the top motherfuckers in your era, nigga, I'm good with you. Hell, I can't get motherfuckers fight 50%. And well, hell, now you're looking 20% in this era.
Well, here's the deal. I don't think it's a situation where people don't want to see those guys fight each other. It's a situation where people want undisputed, and I get it.
I get that.
But at the end of the day, given this Daniel Kinahan situation, we got to be patient. Yep. It is what it is. I want Usyk to fight Fury right now, but that's just not. It's not going to happen. So in the meantime, I don't want Fury or Usyk, right, just sitting at home eating Cheetos and fucking vanilla ice cream. I don't want that shit.
That's a good point.
Them 2 motherfuckers in the ring, and while they're getting ready for each other, they fight before that. They're gonna fight Joshua and possibly Wilder. That's the best matchups we can get at this point in time. I have no problem with that.
I agree 100%, man. All right, man. You know what else I have no problem with? I have no problem giving y'all my fight breakdown of Gennady Golovkin and Canelo Alvarez, the trilogy. All right, here's my breakdown. Gennady Golovkin is old. He's 40 years old. Man, possibly needs to retire. Canelo Alvarez went in there and basically made this motherfucker one-dimensional fighter. Golovkin had his moments, and Canelo Alvarez won just like we told you he would. The scorecards were bullshit. Wasn't no 115, 113. No. That was a clean. All right, that was some bullshit. Listen, man, at the end of the day, You guys got to understand a lot of things is smoke and mirrors, right? Think about this for a second. We had told you guys how this fight was going to look. Prodigy, this fight did not look any different than anything we've been telling these people.
Nah. I just missed the knockout. That's it, man. I didn't get the knockout. I thought I was going to knock out with Golovkin standing. I didn't get that.
You almost did. You almost did because he was on Golovkin's body. I think it was round, what was it, like 7 or 8? He was on Golovkin's body. So you almost did. You almost did because he was on it. But the fight went exactly the way we thought it was. Listen, Gennady Golovkin was 40 years old. And here's why I give Gennady Golovkin credit. The man still has his chin. He still has his power, right? And he still has that determination. But Canelo Alvarez knew that he was in a fight where he had a guy who had huge disadvantages. His reflexes, the guy Golovkin reflexes were slow. Canelo Alvarez could see some of those punches coming. Canelo Alvarez actually didn't even have to fight at that high pace he had to fight in their first 2 fucking fights. Why? Yeah. Because Gennady Golovkin really wasn't trying to. Canelo Alvarez threw a couple of counters at Gennady Golovkin, and Golovkin was scared to let his hands go in the early parts of that fight. Then Canelo went to the body, and we saw what happened. Like my man Prodigy told y'all, Golovkin don't like shit to the body. Well, that's exactly what happened.
That's why he was scared to let his hands go, because he was going to open himself up to a body attack. That's why a lot of people are like, why is he so gun shy? Well, that's why. The nigga's 91 years old, bro. He's not trying to get hit to the body no more.
No.
He didn't like body shots when he was in his prime. I don't think anybody likes body shots. Let me say, Golovkin didn't take him well when he was in his prime. Watch that Kasim Uma fight, man. Watch the Willie Monroe fight as long as it lasted, but watch Willie Monroe land them shots to the body. And watch Golovkin's disposition.
Yep.
You know, when he was in his prime, he didn't take him well. So at this point, he's gun shy because he believes, right, that he's going to be open to a body attack. Everybody knows Canelo's go-to is to the body. If it ain't the uppercut down the middle, it's to the body, bro.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean that's why he was gun shy, man. But listen, man, at 74 years old, the motherfucker's not trying, right, to get into a firefight with Canelo. But here's what I seen. Canelo allowed an 86-year-old motherfucker to get him at the end of the fight.
He did.
You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Canelo's stamina. This is the question I got. Is Canelo gonna pull that vegan shit this time? I was on a vegan diet. I think that's what he said after the Bivol fight.
Yeah, he did.
Vegan diet. I train as hard. Is he gonna pull this shit now? I know prior to the fight, he was like, man, I just started running again. I got them old ass knees like Bo. You know what I'm saying?
Hold on. Not wrong with my knees.
So I got them Bo knees. So I got to start running again. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, bro, let me say something. Canelo's stamina looked better, right, against Billy Ho and Caleb Plant. But his stamina looked like shit again. I even put in there his stamina looked good against Miguel Cotto. But then his stamina went back to looking like shit again against Bivol and now Golovkin.
Mm-hmm.
That's the fucking question of this fight outside of Golovkin continuing. Is Canelo regressing? Because Golovkin literally gave away the first half of the fight, right? Because he's 97 years old. So he gave the fucking first half of the fight away. But then in the second half of the fight, going towards the championship rounds, Canelo was allowing this 59-year-old motherfucker to get inside of him and even push him back.
Mm-hmm.
Is Canelo regressing? That's the question, bro.
That's a very good point. And here's the thing. Yes. And he's regressing because of his mindset, right? And what I mean by mindset is Canelo Alvarez is no longer that same fighter who is extremely hungry, who is starving. Canelo Alvarez is buying into the persona and the star power of Canelo. He's no longer Saul Alvarez no more. He's Canelo Alvarez, and he's buying into that star power. So his training, his moves, his, think about how we saw him at other fights. He's going to other fights in silk pajamas. Like, he's not moving like a fighter that is going to be in the sport long. He's not moving like that. He's not moving like a fighter is, hey, I'm going to be in the sport long, or hey, I'm going to keep taking. He's not moving like that, right? So in my honest opinion, he's regressing only because in his mind, he feels, okay, I can win these fights. And I don't have to, I'm not going to say do a lot of work, but I can win these fights. and I can win these fights in a particular fashion without putting in the extra work that he used to put in the beginning portion of his career, man.
Listen, man, at the end of the day, bro, the fight was garbage. I didn't like. I mean, nobody. The fight should never been on pay per view. Again, as we said prior to this shit, and I think everybody understands that. But Golovkin fans so wanted this fight to be a good fight. They so wanted Golovkin to basically add credibility to them saying that Golovkin won the first and the second fight. I even saw a meme a motherfucker created, Golovkin Dick Rider, right? He said, fight 1, Golovkin robbed with the draw. Fight 2, Golovkin robbed with the decision. Fight 3, Golovkin was made to wait till he was old so he could lose to Canelo, so he could finally lose to Canelo. See what I'm saying? Like, they so wanted this fight to vindicate their feelings of Canelo losing the first 2 fights. But that's just not so. Whether Canelo waited till this motherfucker was 40, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, Golovkin's the one that left the sport for that long. He's the one that had like that 9-10 month layoff, right? Sure, he had a kid, no problem with that. He started his family, had a newborn baby. There's nothing wrong with that. But at the end of the day, that's the decision he made.
Yep.
He's the one that came back against Steve Swiss Cake Rolls and looked bad against Sergey Devianchenko. That's his fault, man. That's his fault. It's not Canelo's fault. Devianchenko arguably beat Triple G. How's that Canelo's fault? You know what I'm saying? It's not Canelo's fault that Ryota Murata was whooping his ass in the first 5 rounds. How's that Canelo's fight?
Oh, man.
Canelo's fault, right? So at the end of the day, bro, listen, Triple G is not what he used to be.
Yep. That's it.
Fuck it. I'll segue into the next topic. He's not what he used to be, right? Now it's a question of, should he continue on at 160 pounds since he is the IBF and the WBA champion? Or should he retire? What do you think, man?
Man, that's a very good question. It's a tough question because the 2 fights that make sense, in my honest opinion, is him fighting Janibek, and then of course you got Charlo. Now, the Janibek fight, I'm not sure if that get made because him and Janibek are like, they like buddies. They from the same location, same area. Janibek actually looks at him as a mentor, so I don't know if that fight would get made, right? And I don't think he wants to fight Charlo because, I mean, let's just be honest about it. A young, athletic fighter like that would be all kind of problems for Gennady Golovkin. He said something very interesting though at the press conference when they asked him, you want to stay at 168, does he want to go back down to 160? He said, well, it depends on what I'm offered. I have to look at offers. It depends on what I'm offered. That tells me he's either looking for one big last big payday, and if he can't get it, he's gonna walk. That's actually what I believe he'll do. He'll see who comes with him with an offer. And if it's a big enough offer, okay, maybe I'll fight at 168. Depends on who it is at 168. Or maybe I'll fight at 160. But if it's not a big enough offer, then
what kind of offer is he looking for? There's nobody at 168 or 160 that's going to present the kind of offer that he just received from Canelo Alvarez in the zone.
I agree.
Right? Like if you look at the WBA at let's go to 160. You look at 160, you look at the WBA, right? It's Ergashev Lara. That's the WBA regular champion, right? Ergashev Lara could be next. A fucking rematch with Ryota Murata is probably the only thing left there, right? Now, there's one name. Sergio Martinez is ranked number 3 by the WBA. Now, everybody knows he came back and been fighting in Spain and shit, but somehow the WBA saw fit, just like they saw fit to rank Jarrell Miller, they saw fit to rank Sergio Martinez in the top 5, right?
Right.
I don't think that fight generates a lot of money. Sergio Martinez is a super has-been, right? This is a fight that could have happened, but Sergio and Miguel Cotto ended up fighting instead.
Right.
Jaime Munguia is another one in the WBA. I'm not sure that is a big offer. For Jaime Munguia, I don't think that's a big offer.
No.
At all. This is also a fight that should have happened. But instead, HBO didn't like Jaime Munguia, so they allowed Vanez Martirosyan to step in, right?
Yep.
Let's go to the IBF. Esquivio Falco, No. And that's a dangerous matchup, actually, for Golovkin.
Yeah, it is. I
you
agree
know what
with
I'm
that.
saying? You got Michael Zarafa, right? You got, I can't even mention anything else. You got 2 German motherfuckers, and then you got Jaime Munguia again. So that's 160. You look at 168, the big names there, Demetrius Andrade, he won't fight him. David Benavidez, right? Caleb Plant, I don't see why he would fight him. I don't see any money there, right? Who else is there? Billy Ho? Is he even still there? I don't even know if he's still there or not.
Yeah.
Right? David Morrell? No, that's not going to happen.
No, that's not going to happen.
There's the only matchups that I can think of, bro, to which he could possibly get equal money or somewhere close to the money he just received is Ryota Murata.
Mm-hmm.
After that, it would be Jaime Munguia. That's it.
That's it.
No, I don't think he gets that money with Chris Eubank Jr. I don't think he gets that money.
No.
You don't get that money. And then Chris Eubank is going down to 157 to fight Conor Benn. I don't think that fight happens anytime soon. I don't think that fight happens in 2023. You know what I'm saying?
I agree with that.
I don't think that fight happens in 2023. Golovkin would be 41, 42 years old by the time Chris Eubank Jr. gets to the plate. That fight ain't going to make no money, man. Ryota Murata 2 is the only one that will make money. You got to have it in Japan again. That's it.
And to your point, when you look at the other 2 guys, Janibek and Charlo, well, we all know Gennady Golovkin has that, he has that co-promotion exclusive deal with DAZN, where Janibek's a top rank and Charlo's a premier boxing champions. And they're not going to send Charlo to fight on fucking DAZN.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, see what I'm saying? And then on top of that, again, like you said, if they do, can y'all honestly sit here and tell me that that's going to be the type of bag that this man is looking for? No.
Yep.
So the only fight that makes sense, just like you said, is Murata, a rematch.
I mean,
that's it.
Jamal is still the WBC champion, but he ain't gonna fight him.
No,
he's not gonna fight Jamal Charlo. And then fucking Janibek Alan Canelli's the WBO champion, but they're friends. They're not gonna fight each other.
That shouldn't matter, but yeah,
it shouldn't matter.
It shouldn't matter.
That could be a big fight in fucking Kazakhstan.
Yep,
but it's not gonna happen. And Alan Canelli would retire this nigga. He would do exactly what Gerald Davis just said: pass the torch. But Triple G ain't ready to retire.
He ain't ready to retire. But you know what, though? That's actually a fair point, which is that fight would be a passing of the torch, and you can do a DAZN top rank co-promotion and have that in Uzbekistan, and that would generate some money for him.
Yep. That
would I still think Murata generates more, but that would at least generate some money, serious money for him. But like you said, he's not ready to retire, so he's not going to take that fight.
He's not going to fight Janibek, bro. And he understands how good of a fighter Janibek is. He wants to go out on a good note with a lot of money. And fighting Janibek is not going to get him Canelo or close to Canelo type money, and he loses the fight. So I honestly retire.
Retire.
You gotta get a run. Vacate them belts and retire.
But understand, y'all do realize he gonna fight Bobo Jones. He gonna get a Bobo Jones fight.
Yeah.
He gonna talk to DAZN. Look here, man. Give me $7 million and let me fight this. As my severance pay. Let me fight Bobo Jones.
That nigga fuck around fight Michael Zarafa and shit. And nobody would say nothing. Michael Zarafa, I think, he's ranked number 1 by the WBA.
Yeah,
if fuck around fight him, nobody would say nothing. Well, it's a mandatory.
I don't understand.
Fucking ridiculous, man. My man Heisenberg said, I saw some pipsqueak on Twitter say this GGG beats Boo Boo. All right, man. All right. Go to the next topic.
Yeah, that's why I'm not on Twitter like that.
Exactly. That's why I don't fuck around on Twitter. A bunch of dumbass niggas over there, man. It's a dumbass congregation on Twitter. Hey, you dumb? I'm dumb. Hey, let's make a fucking chat. Stupid motherfuckers, man. Dumb nigga congregation over there, man. You're dumb. I'm dumb. You're dumb. We're all dumb. We're all in the same chat. Yay!
Chris Faddix gonna retweet Chris Faddix gonna Chris Faddix is gonna read Fagginger. Fagginger gonna retweet Faddix. I'm telling you, man. All right, man. Let's go and get into this, right? So, as you guys already know, Canelo Alvarez. You guys already heard the statement. Canelo Alvarez is out here pretty much trying to shit on the accolades of one David Benavidez because, you know, he heard about what Benavidez's father said, right? About fighting him, not wanting to fight Mexicans. He's catching some heat and some flack about that. So Canelo is like, you know, he said he understands what they're saying, but, you know, what has David Benavidez done? He's only beat one champion. You know, what has he done?
Hey, yo, how many champions did Rocky Fielding beat?
0.
Don't be calling Tyrone Zuge, you know, motherfucking champion. That was a WBA regular title. And man, how many champions did Abney Yildirim beat?
As many as I did. We got the same number. We got the same number of champions.
Hey, how many motherfucking champions did Caleb Plant beat? One. Because Jose Uzcategui was not a champion. He was given the belt because James DeGale retired. Or not retired. He went to go fight Chris Eubank Jr. Sorry.
Right.
But that's why he was given the and then retired after that.
Yep.
That's why he was given the belt. He ain't no real fucking champion. Well, he beat Caleb Truax 2K. Who, nigga? Caleb Truax? You talking about the nigga from fucking Minnesota? That bald-headed goofy ass nigga from Minnesota? Are you serious? All right. Who did fucking David Benavidez, his one champion, beat? He beat Anthony Durrell. Who's better, Anthony Durrell or Caleb Truax?
Anthony Durrell.
Exactly. So that means David Benavidez's one champion he beat is better than Caleb Plant's one champion he beat.
Hell, David Benavidez one champion he beat, in my opinion, is better than the one champion Callum Smith beat in George Groves.
Oh my God, man.
Right? And then Billy Joe Saunders, the super middleweight, didn't beat no champion. What champion Billy Joe Saunders beat a super middleweight? I'm sorry, wait a minute. How many champions did Bivol beat?
Shit, none. I don't know. I don't think he beat any. I have to go back like former champions, maybe, but I don't know about that.
No.
He beat Jean Pascal. He beat Pascal.
Oh, right. And then he was elevated. Pascal. Then he was elevated.
Yep.
And then he was elevated.
That's a former champ, though.
Yeah.
At that time.
Yep. And then he was elevated, depending on how you feel about the WA regular title, or he was elevated to super champion. So how do you feel about that? Right? At the end of the day, Canelo is saying that because he knows Benavidez is a problem.
Exactly, bro.
That's the only reason why he say that, because I would love to know how many champions Amir Khan beat when they fought at that catchweight at 155, which was technically 160. How many champions that nigga beat? Man, how many champions James Kirkland beat?
Man, fuck that. Fuck the championship, right? James Kirkland, definitely. Yeah, James Kirkland beat no champions. Alfredo Angulo, right? But check this out. Amir Khan hadn't even fought at 154, let alone 155. He moved this nigga up. He moved this motherfucker up 8 pounds, bro.
Sure did.
He did the same shit. A lot of people don't understand this. He did the same shit he did to Amir Khan, to Miguel Vasquez in the second fight early in his career, right? Miguel Vasquez had just fought at, I believe, at 135, I want to say, right? Or maybe 140. And it was like a month later, Canelo fought him at 148 or 147. So he had him move up like 7 or 8 pounds within a month to get the rematch with Canelo Alvarez. A lot of niggas don't know about that shit. Mm-hmm. He did the same thing to Amir Khan. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, bro, listen, this is Canelo. This is just vintage Canelo putting his motherfucking foot in his mouth.
Yep.
Right? When he talks about who he beat, who did this guy beat, right? Who are you? You haven't done nothing, right? He's going to duck David Benavidez in the same manner he's ducking Demetrius Andrade, bro. Yep. That's what's about to fucking happen. But the walls are closing in.
Yeah, they are.
Because I noticed Demetrius Andrade was ranked number 2 right now by the WBO. They have him ranked. Now, I don't think they should have had him ranked. Well, maybe they should have, because he was a WBO champion at middleweight, so I take that back. They actually should have had him at number 1 and not fucking Golovkin, because Golovkin didn't have the WBO title at middleweight. Andrade should have been made number 1 and immediate mandatory. That's fine. Golovkin just lost. That nigga's out the rankings. Demetrius Andrade will now move to number 1. And then when the Zach Parker purse bid happens, it gets rescheduled, and then he knocks out Zach Parker. Guess what? They better mandate this nigga.
Yep.
But it wouldn't matter, right? Because guess what? He's going to duck him. But the walls are closing in, like I say. You got David Benavidez, the WBC interim champion, right? You're going to have Demetrius Andrade, the number 1 contender, and the WBO interim champion after he beats Zach Parker, right? You got David Morrell, the WBA regular champion.
Yep.
Right? The walls are closing in. It's going to get to the point where if Canelo fights anybody else, like, let's say, I don't know, Pavel Siliagin, you know what I'm saying? If he fights him instead of anybody else that I just fucking mentioned, people are going to be on his ass. No homo. You know what I'm saying? But here's a little tidbit, Bo. Here's a little tidbit people not paying attention to. Caleb Plant is ranked in 3 of the 4 major sanctioning bodies right now.
Yeah.
Not only is he fucking ranked, bro, Caleb Plant is ranked in the top 3 of 3 of the major sanctioning bodies. He's number 2 by the WBC, right? Number 3 by the WBA, and number 3 by the IBF. If he beats Anthony Durrell, guess what?
He becomes mandatory for the WBC.
Well, yeah, that fight's a mandatory. That fight's an eliminator. But fuck all that's not what I'm looking for. He becomes he becomes number 1 contender possibly, in all 3 of those sanctioning bodies.
Yeah,
that's what happens, right? Right now, Pavel Siliagin's number 1 at WBC because he owns a WBC silver title.
Yep. Caleb
Plant could leapfrog him, become number 1 after he beats Durrell, and it is an eliminator, so he would, right?
Yep.
In the WBA, he can leapfrog fucking John Ryder and Adios, your Bossanelli, however you say his name. He can leapfrog them 2 niggas because he has a name.
Yep.
That's the WBA, excuse me. And then the IBF, he can leapfrog William Skull. William
Skull's
number 1.
Sure
he can leapfrog him. Number 2 is vacant. If he beats Anthony Durrell, what's going to happen is Canelo could possibly rematch Caleb Plant instead of fight David Benavidez. Hey, you know what? Check this out. He said, laugh out loud. I don't even know who this nigga is. He said, laugh out loud. Y'all big mad. Canelo can pick and choose. But you can do that when you're the cash cow. Listen, I don't give a fuck about Canelo picking and choosing.
Exactly.
What I give a fuck about is who Canelo is picking and choosing. That's what I get. Just like how because you're a Canelo fan, so that means you hated Floyd Mayweather, right? I could just put 2 and 2 together with these dumb fucks. So that means when you were mad that Floyd Mayweather was picking and choosing, you'd have to use the same logic. But see, the difference between me and your stupid ass is that I don't give a fuck about who Canelo having the power to pick and choose. I don't care about that. What I care about is who he's picking.
Yep.
Don't be mad because PBC's broke. I don't give a fuck about PBC.
Yeah, for real. What they got to do with anything?
What does that got to do with me? Fuck PBC. He sees 2 black dudes and he thinks we're PBC guys. Just get off, dog. You're stupid. You don't know what you're talking about. You're stupid.
For real.
Get off, nigga. You don't know what you're talking about. We already know you're racist because you see 2 black dudes and you automatically think we love PBC. Fuck PBC. Fuck Matchroom. Fuck The Zone. Fuck all of you. I only care about boxing. What are you talking about? He said, that's how fights are made, dummy. Boxing business 101. What boxing business did you put in here?
Yeah, no shit.
You didn't put no boxing business in here, stupid. You just said Canelo can pick and choose. What business did you put in here? You didn't say shit. This might be one of the dumbest motherfuckers on here, bro.
We also said he was ducking Andrade. Andrade not with PBC. We said he'd been ducking Andrade for years. When Andrade back was with Matchroom on his own, we said that. Yeah. Exactly. What they got to do with anything?
This nigga's stupid, bro. Nigga, you got one more comment, then you're gone. You're a fucking idiot. Nigga, you don't know what you're talking about. It's boxing business. I didn't say anything about boxing business, but it's boxing business. All right, man, shut the fuck up, nigga. Goodbye.
Wait, what the fuck they gotta do?
Stupid as fuck, nigga.
The fuck they gotta do with anything? That's nothing to do,
bro. Boxing fans are fucking stupid, man. 75 IQ, nigga. Might be lower than that.
Right. Bro, well, wait a minute. So, what I'm trying to figure out something is this is how stupid he is. He's saying, well, PBC is broke. Wait a minute. If he's fighting Canelo, you just said Canelo's the cash cow. So the money ain't coming from PBC, right? So what the fuck is he talking about? Okay.
Here comes another one. 92 AKU. Will David Benavidez better KO Usyk or your Canelo scared of David B theory is debatable?
So he got to knock somebody out. That makes absolutely no sense, bro.
Why does he have to knock out somebody else in order for us to say that Canelo doesn't want to fight him? What the fuck?
Bro, he's taking the Canelo approach of how Bivol has to beat Ramirez in order to get the rematch that he won.
Let me dumb down myself real quick. Let me dumb down myself real quick, bro, and try to figure out this logic. This man is saying we can't say Canelo doesn't want to fight David Benavidez if Benavidez doesn't knock out Usyk. How the fuck is Usyk some sort of gateway fighter that is the cheat code, right?
Right.
That says, hey, if I make it a good fight, then Canelo's not scared of him. What? That makes no fucking sense.
It makes none at all.
Is he a doppelganger for fucking Canelo or something? The fuck are you talking about?
Doppelganger. But you don't know what doppelganger mean, man. You gonna have to explain it.
You don't know, and I'm not fucking explaining it. Go look it up.
Oh, no.
That's what I'm saying, bro. 75 IQs, man. Boxing fans are the stupidest motherfuckers out here, man. Out of any sport out there, boxing fans are the stupidest fans out there, bro.
That's stupid as shit. Because you know why? And let me ask you something. Did you feel that way when Caleb played for Usyk? If he don't knock out Usyk, he shouldn't get Canelo. Did you feel that way when he when fucking playing for Usyk? Right?
Listen, 92 AKU Caballero. He said, why is that hard to understand? It's not hard to understand, bro. You're trying to use a triangle theory. And I don't know how many channels you've been on, or this YouTube shit is not us. Right. We're 3kingsboxing.com. That's what we do. We come on here because cats want us to talk boxing, and we'll fucking come on here every once in a while and talk boxing. All right. So I don't know who you listen to, and I don't know what you follow in terms of boxing. I don't know what social media platforms you talk boxing, but triangle theories do not work in boxing, man. They don't. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter how good or bad he looks against Jose Usyk. At the end of the day, stylistically, David Benavidez is a bad matchup for Canelo Alvarez.
Great.
It's just like I said before. Canelo Alvarez versus Dimitri Bivol, right, is not a better fight than Bivol and fucking Ramirez, Gilberto Ramirez.
Yes, right.
Because of how Gilberto Ramirez's style is, his ability to jab and judge distance from mid-range and the outside. That is going to be a problem for Bivol. Canelo doesn't do that. So that enables Bivol to be able to dictate pace and win the ring generalship battle behind his jab at mid-range distance. So even though Canelo might be a better fighter than Gilberto Ramirez is a better matchup for fucking Dimitri Bivol than Canelo is. God damn.
Styles make fights.
So it has no... Just because he might go 12 rounds with Usyk, but who fucking cares? That doesn't mean he fights the exact same way he fought Usyk. He fights like that against Canelo. Doesn't mean that.
No. And that's the point we want to, like, bottom line, at the end of the day, like my man J.R. Davis says, y'all got a lot of stipulations for these guys we bring up who can be dangerous for Canelo Alvarez. That's all it really is at the end of the day, right? Because the sit-up, we just sat here and told you Canelo said he only beat one champion. He hasn't done anything. He's beat one champion. Well, there's a bunch of fights. We just named you guys. Billy Joe Saunders. At super middleweight, he didn't beat a champion. Now he did beat Andy Lee at middleweight, but he beat one champion. Colin Smith beat one champion. Caleb Plant, in my honest opinion, I don't even rate Usyk as a champion, whatever. He beat one fucking champion.
He sure did.
And these are all guys that Canelo fought outside of fact. Canelo only went for the belt when David Benavidez no longer had that motherfucker. That's when he went for the WBC belt of super middleweight. While he was one fight away from being undisputed middleweight after beating Daniel Jacobs, who was with the WBO belt was being held by who? Demetrius Andrade, who was another motherfucker Canelo Alvarez didn't look to fight. That's so where's the biasness? Where are we wrong at? That's all we're telling you. When it's guys that Canelo is confident he can beat, like my man probably said, Dimitri Bivol was a cherry pick going wrong. It was a cherry pick going wrong. That's why Canelo's out here telling Bivol, well, you got to beat Ramirez if you want me to fight you. And then when it comes to Benavidez and Ramirez, well, I don't want to fight Mexican fighters when he's fought Angulo and he's fought Chavez Jr. Mm-hmm. See what I'm saying?
So he said, so if David looks bad against Usyk as C-level fighter, I actually don't think he's even C-level. You still favor David versus Canelo. I didn't say anything about him looking bad against Usyk. You're saying he needs to stop Usyk. Exactly. That's what you said. You say he needs to knock him out. I'm saying he doesn't have to knock him out. He can go 12 rounds with the dude. David might be trying to get rounds in. You never fucking know. You never know when a fighter gets in the ring what they're going to do. Mm-hmm. That doesn't mean that in a top-level matchup, they're going to perform the same fucking way. I even do you one better. I'll go the opposite direction, right? Because this has more merit than what you're saying. Teofimo Lopez looked good against Vasyl Lomachenko, but looked like doo-doo against fucking George Kambosos. Do you think George Kambosos and Vasyl Lomachenko are on the same level? That has more merit than what you're saying.
Exactly.
Because if he beat Lomachenko, he should have murdered George Kambosos.
Exactly.
But that is my point, that it doesn't matter on a fight-to-fight basis. It's a different fight, bro. Go ahead, bro.
No, Heisenberg actually took my point because he's trying to say, okay, he shouldn't get bad then. Bivol never looked impressive in none of his fucking fights, but got in there and beat Canelo Alvarez.
Bivol looked bad against Craig Richards.
He sure did.
And then beat Canelo in the very next fight.
Yep. So, like, how much boxing do you know? You know what, man? I'll even take it. I'll help you out. I'll take it motherfucking back. Nobody wanted to see Evander Holyfield fight Tyson. Prior to fighting Mike Tyson, Evander Holyfield looked it bad.
Who did he look bad against, bro?
I forget because remember he was sitting in the corner like he was about to die.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
That's why Mike Tyson was a heavy favorite.
Yep.
In that first fight. You're absolutely right.
Yep. And then went in there and beat Mike Tyson. Muhammad Ali was viewed as being a retired fighter. Got in there and beat George Foreman. Yep. So it don't all that how he looked bad and all that. Styles make fights, but also as we know in boxing, dog, some fighters, we've always said this. Bivol is the type of guy, he fights to the level of his opponent. Some fighters are like that. Some fighters need that big fight for them to get up. So all that shit you're talking about, dog, that's boxing don't work like the way you're trying to draw this shit up in your fucking head. That's not how the sport works, man. Yep. You can get a fight where a fighter looks bad and then put him in another fight. Like, damn, who is this dude? I didn't see this dude. What the fuck, where did he come from?
Right.
Okay. And that's just what it is, man. Whatever, man. You can't talk to these guys. You really can't talk to these guys. So if he looks bad, what that got to do with anything? What does him? First of all, why does he even have to fight Usyk to even get Canelo? That's number one.
I mean,
let's address that right there.
Listen, man. He said he looked good against Joe Smith Jr. Joe Smith Jr. was like 4 fights before Canelo. He didn't look good against Craig Richards, and he didn't look good against Umar Salamov. And then he beats Canelo. Those were his last 2 fights.
Right.
Before Canelo. He didn't look good in neither one of those fights. Fuck Joe Smith Jr. That was like a fight before them. His last 2 fights before Canelo, he did not look good in. Craig Richards and Umar Salamov.
Exactly.
So your point, that point you made is dead, bro.
I just like these stipulations y'all have on guys that we're saying that, Canelo needs to fight or Canelo's out here actively not trying to fight him. Because at the end of the day, it's bullshit.
What are you talking about? Making excuses. I don't give a fuck, nigga. I don't care to answer your fucking question because I don't care if he looks good against Usyk. I still think he gives Canelo problems because of what I just fucking. Did these niggas even listen to what we're saying?
No.
I don't care.
Right.
That's what I'm telling you. I don't care what he looks like against Usyk because it's a fight-to-fight basis.
Yeah.
He can look like doo-doo against Usyk or he can knock him out. I'm still going to have the same thought process. Because I know if he doesn't look good against Usyk, I know that this nigga's just getting rounds in.
Yep.
Look what he did to fucking David Lemieux. Are you telling me Usyk better than David Lemieux? No, he's not.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, it's a stupid ass comparison. Why? Canelo didn't fight Usyk. Canelo fought Caleb Plant. So your comparison should be about David Benavidez beating Caleb Plant because that's the guy that fought him, not no Canelo Alvarez. That right there tells me how slow you are with your thinking, because you're trying to make a comparison of, okay, if he looks bad against Usyk, then how you think he's gonna beat Canelo? Well, Canelo didn't fight Usyk, so how the fuck does that matter? So how the fuck does that even compute in your head? See what I'm saying, dog? Now, if like your thought process is, well, because Canelo beat Plant and Plant beat Usyk, Benavidez look bad, then that's the dumbest shit I've ever fucking heard, nigga. That's like 1 + 1 + 1 + 1 + 1 = 10. Like, that's the dumbest shit I've ever fucking heard.
At the end of the day, Canelo put his own foot in his mouth.
Yeah, he did.
He beat one champion. He beat nobody.
Right.
But you have fought guys that have beat nobody in the past.
Exactly.
So that shows you what his frame of mind is. When a motherfucker doesn't want to do something, they make excuses to not do it. And that's what that was. He made an excuse as to why he's not interested in fighting David Benavidez. That's what he did.
Yep.
And when he made that excuse, he forgot to cross-reference his own resume. That's what he forgot to do. He forgot to take a look at his own resume and be like, well, wait a minute, I can't say that shit. I did fight James Kirk and Alfredo Angulo. I can't say that. You know what I'm saying? That's what happened. He forgot to cross-reference his own resume before he made this. That's why I say boxers need PR people. They need somebody to speak for them. Like Floyd did Tank. You think Vasily Lomachenko will be next? I get that. Let me get that. That's what they should have did to Canelo. When that reporter said, you know, you don't want to fight Mexican fighters, but David Benavidez, he's half Ecuadorian. He was born in the United States. Would he be considered a Mexican fighter? Somebody next to him, Eddie Hearn, should have been like, hey, let me get that, Mike. He should have did that. Because then Canelo looked stupid as fuck after that. First of all, then he tried to say, I didn't say that. Nigga, yes, you did.
Yes,
Everybody fucking heard the interview. Three Kings wrote the article on it.
Yes,
you did say that. And that wasn't the first time that he said that. He said that before he fought Chavez Jr. He said he wasn't going to fight no more Mexicans. It's like the first time this nigga said that. So the nigga put both his feet in the same mouth. Nigga, I don't know how he did that. Nigga had 1 foot on the other cheek and 1 foot on another cheek, bruh. That's what the fuck he did. Nigga out here looking like a squirrel holding nuts in his mouth. That's how he got his feet in his fucking mouth, nigga. In the same statement, you contradicted yourself not once, twice. Get the fuck out of here. That's what a nigga does when he don't want to do something. Exactly. He makes excuses and then trips over his previous statements and actions.
Yep.
Damn, bruh. That ain't hard to understand.
No, it's not. It's not at all. It's not at all, man. And like we said, man, we tell you all the time, man. Stop, man. Listen, man. Stop being a mouthpiece for these motherfuckers, dog. Stop being a mouthpiece, man. So at the end of the motherfucking day, this motherfucker is talking out the side of his face because if he check his resume is full of motherfuckers that he claiming David Benavidez didn't do, and he had no problem with fighting him. At the end of the fucking day, that's it. That's it. That's all. It's like, you know what's funny? Because I thought about, remember that time when Badu Jack and DeGale fought and they had that jaw and DeGale was like, hey, let's fight at 175. What fight? Hold on. I got that. I got that.
That nigga stepped in front of Badu Jack. Let me get that. Badu, like I said before, Floyd, you didn't say nothing before. Oh
shit. And you're right, man. Like Floyd always do that shit. He'd be like, "So, what's next, man? Is Devin Haney next? I got that. I got that. Come on. Tank, or we're gonna go home. We're gonna rest up. We're gonna see what else. You know, Tank is a pay-per-view fighter, so you got to be careful how you move.
That shit is crazy, man. That nigga just straight up said no. Badu Jack just looking there like, I do want to fight him again. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that look, I do want to fight him again. Nigga Floyd's like, no, man, we moving to 175. 175 is where we're going. Like, goddamn, bro. Let these niggas talk, man.
Then that nigga won that belt, and they say, man, you got to fight. You gonna fight Dimitri Bivol next because you know he's a mandatory Floyd. I get that. We got a fight that we've already signed for with the Adonis Stevenson, and Badu's gonna give.
Man, that shit crazy, man.
Fuck.
That shit crazy, dog.
I get be quiet. I got that.
Real talk, that shit annoyed the fuck out of me. But some of these fighters need that. Maybe Tank is the right one to do that too, because that nigga be saying some stupid shit too.
Oh yeah.
But you know, Canelo definitely needed it that day. You know what I'm saying?
That moment he needed that moment.
He fucking needed it, bro. He contradicted the fuck out of himself all in that one statement.
Yeah.
And like I said, that's what happens when you're flustered and you get hit with something. You don't want to do it. You try to make up an excuse on the fly. That's exactly what happened. You contradict yourself. This is basic human nature, bro. Stop making excuses for this dude. He's ducking David Benavidez. This is clear. This is clear.
Yeah.
Like Canelo's devoid of basic human instinct.
Yeah, no shit.
You know, Canelo is a cyborg, nigga. He could never contradict himself because he has no feelings.
He's Vulcan.
What the fuck? You know what I'm saying? He could never do that. He has no feelings. He's a warrior. Get the fuck out of here, man.
Well, Canelo could actually say, "Oh, I didn't say that," and it probably was that double we saw walking around on Las Vegas Strip.
Yeah, that doppelganger. Yeah,
that probably was his doppelganger.
There was a real one. There was a real doppelganger out there. Motherfucker looked just like Canelo, man. Man, we saw Canelo, Dana White. We seen several we saw Don King.
Oh man.
We saw several motherfuckers out there, bro. That shit was crazy, man.
Oh man. All right, man. Go to 3kingsboxing.com for the latest grades what's going on in the sport of boxing. As always, man, I want to thank everybody for being here. I want to thank my man Prodigy for always taking time out to do this show, man. All right, man. Prodigy, man, take us out, man.
I know what to do, man. Go to 3kingsboxing.com for your source of pure and adulterated boxing information. Hit us up on Twitter at 3kingsboxing, Instagram at 3kingsboxing, Facebook.com/3kingsboxing. Also, man, hit the like button on this video. Also share it. Then also go over to Prodigy Boxing Talk and hit that subscribe button as well as the notification bell to know when we go live. Also go and subscribe to the 3 Kings Boxing YouTube channel. We're going to start filtering stuff over there pretty soon. So go ahead and subscribe over there as well so you'll know when we go live there as well. All right. Appreciate everybody in the chat. Even the motherfuckers that got on my nerves. Y'all know it's just boxing talk. This is the barbershop. When you say something stupid in the barbershop, what do they say, Bo? Nigga, what the fuck you talking about? That's what they do.
Get him.
Yo, same shit here, bro. It's exactly what it is here. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, we appreciate everybody with their different opinions, everybody with their different thoughts. Appreciate everybody in the chat. To the next one, we out.